All right, everybody, welcome. This is week one to the industry update presented by Delaware Auto Exchange. We're talking about a little bit of everything from educating consumers to what's going on in the market, and also educating, just the general public of what's going on within the auction industry, the automotive industry, and so on and so forth. So this is our podcast. We're also recording the videos, so that way we can put it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's where our main channels really are. We're going to be opening up our Snapchat channel very soon, so pretty excited about that. Anyway, we're going to jump right into this. This is a topic that's kind of not bothered me, but it's caught my attention, so to speak. So I have all kinds of automotive industry news magazines that I get, all kinds of stuff. But this is from Auto Finance News, the Subprime edition. And the main headline that was on the very front of this article right here is Millennials and their focus on payments. And basically what this article was saying was that Millennials only focus on payments, which I don't believe to be true. I think that it's a lot more widespread than just Millennials. I think that there's people that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old that still just focus on the payments. They don't focus on the bottom of that sheet that they're signing the contract saying that, hey, at the end of the day, I'm going to pay X amount of dollars for this vehicle. My interest rate is this, but this the bottom line is all that matters in a financial statement, the whole 9 yards. So long story short, this article had some really interesting facts and topics in it, I guess you should say. But it's basically saying an estimated 32% of all trade-ins in 2016 were upside down. And what that basically means is that the trade-in, they owed more than it was worth. It's plain and simple. They owed more than it was worth. And the average of $4,832 of negative equity was rolled over into the vehicle that they were purchasing, which is insane.
Too much.
Crazy. It's way too much. You know what I mean? Banks are only going to lend so much, and it becomes a snowball. How much debt do you want to owe? Yeah. You got to keep buying something either more expensive or they're going to cut you off eventually. But with subprime financing, for some of the consumers that don't know, subprime financing is basically the lower tier in financing. They'll finance someone a lot quicker with less of a credit score. It's not degrading you in any way. It's just there's different tiers of financing. You're not going to be financed with a bank like Bank of America or Citizens One, M&T Bank, someone like that. But there's a lot of smaller subprime companies that will finance you. Usually shorter term, highest interest rate. Typically vehicles anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, sometimes even more. So there's a lot of different things going on in subprime lending right now, but I thought it was really interesting that they kind of just focused their article on millennials, because I don't think that's just millennials. Like I said again, I think it's a lot more people focusing on the payment than it is the bottom dollar. And what I really want people to understand is that at the end of the day, let's just say you signed for a four-year term, your payment's $280 a month, almost $300 a month basically. Your interest rate is whatever it might be. It might be 7%, it might be 17%. I don't know. It all depends on your credit score. Negative equity, again, has a lot to do with it. So with all that being said, I just really want you guys to understand that you can't go and trade this car in 2 years. You can't you can't be riding down the road in that Honda Civic you're driving and saying, man, I like that Subaru Outback over there. I wish I could get that thing. You pull in the car lot, take a look at it. You realize that they'll finance you. Your payment might go up. The interest rate's going to be higher. But, that's what you got to realize. You got to understand, folks. Like, you have got to understand that at the bottom of that paper is all you got to focus on. You know what I mean? Or go into it to where you're not rolling over negative equity. Finance the car, and like, let's say if you're $4,832, negative equity, if you have that cash laying around, pay it towards it. You know what I mean? I think it was Dave Ramsey who said this. All debt is bad debt. That's not true. All debt is not bad debt. Car payment debt, that's bad. House payment debt, that's bad. You know what I mean? If you're financing a house, debt is bad. And everyone wants to say that, buying a car or a house is an investment. And to me, that's completely wrong. To some people, it is an investment. But an investment to me is something that I put money into and it returns. It returns money. I've never owned a car where it returns money to me. Not yet, at least.
No.
No. Unless you're buying at wholesale prices, You're going to break even, maybe make a couple bucks off of it if you drive it for 1 or 2 years. That's what we have a lot of people at the auction do. They come here to the auction. They buy a car at wholesale value, which is a lot less than retail. They drive it for a couple of years. They come and they bring it back to the auction. Some people make money. Some people break even. Some people lose $400 or $500.
Right.
So you're telling me that car only costs you $500 to drive for 2 years? You do the math there. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, long story short, that's how people are saving money right now through the public and dealer auto auctions like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Delaware Auto Exchange, Route 13, Felton, Delaware, every Thursday night. We do it every Thursday night. We're saving people money. But this is, you know, if you do choose to finance a vehicle, I really want to encourage everybody to look at the bottom dollar.
Absolutely.
Look at the bottom dollar of the total amount of what you're paying. And not only subprime, but in any type of financing. Pay attention. Pay attention to what you're purchasing. And that's what I really want to get across. So, you know, kind of wrapping up this whole spiel. Again, I think Subprime's article about millennials and their focus on their payments, I think that's completely wrong. I'm a millennial. I'm 23 years old. I pay attention to the industry. I know what's going on. I study it like a hawk. And I wasn't offended when I read the article because I'm not a snowflake or whatever they call them. But I was just like, man, that's a pretty bold statement. You know what I mean? I'm not here to be a whiner or a complainer about what they put on their magazine. I don't own this magazine, so therefore I can't control what they put on it. But I think that the appropriate title should have been "Consumers are more focused on payments than they are, you know, the total cost of a vehicle." Because it's going on. It's not an epidemic. It's not an epidemic. An epidemic is drugs and stuff. An epidemic is a lot more further than what we're in subprime lending right now. I think what we're going through is a shift. I think it's a shift. It's a generational shift too. Because my grandmother, who will probably be listening to this podcast and watching this video, she's going to understand that back in the day, they kept a car for a long time. Almost till the wheels fell off of it. You know what I mean?
They got their money's worth.
They got their money's worth out of it. But now the thing is, there's always something new coming out. There's a new technology. Like my truck, I don't even have a CD player in my new truck. It's all Bluetooth. So you see it went from 8 tracks to then, you know, the tapes to now CDs, and now it's all digital. Everything is going digital. Everything. I mean, think about everything that you do is going digital. So what I want to get involved or, you know, kind of end this topic on is pay attention, know what you're buying, and at the end of the day, understand that there are multiple different financing options. There's multiple different options to buy a vehicle. Just depends on what route you want to go. If you got some cash saved up, I recommend, you know, the auctions. If you don't have cash saved up, probably subprime lending. That's the way to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm not biased either one way or another. You know what I mean? I've financed vehicles before. I understand the game. I've been involved in it, therefore I can talk about it. We see this happen every single week. We see more people coming to the auctions because they don't want a payment, you know what I mean, or they don't want the negative equity into a car, and it's understandable. It really is understandable. But in the same token, I think there's a lot of people out there who are just paying attention to the payment.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's dangerous.
Oh, it's very
I think it's very dangerous.
It doesn't seem like it now, but when they turn
I'm not
40,
saying not to finance a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people's main way that they can afford to do something. And we live in one of the greatest countries on this planet. And we have a lot of people who live paycheck to paycheck. Completely understandable. Those are the people who need to be paying more attention. You know what I mean? I'm not saying for the rich to not pay attention to interest rates and, you know, what they're paying for a vehicle. What I am saying is it's more crucial to people who are living week to week. You know what I mean? It really is crucial because you've got to pay attention to everything. The interest rate. You know, and gap insurance is another thing that I do believe in. I do believe in gap insurance. There's some people that say, you know, it's a scam, it's a hoax, you know what I mean? Don't do it. They're just trying to get more money out of you. They're making money off of it, yes, but at the same token, it's for a purpose. You know what I mean? So consumers out there, just pay attention to this. Take this podcast to heart. Understand that we're trying to take care of you in the long run. For more information about Delaware Auto Exchange, I encourage everybody, you can go to DelawareAutoExchange.com, which will be in the bottom of one of these videos, and it'll be on the podcast link. So if you don't have our app yet, we're about 10 days away from launching our first app, which is incredible. So it's the Delaware Auto Exchange app. There's so many features. There's coupons that you can use, reward points that you can use, updates, so you can view the vehicles on there. it's really cool. We're taking this and like, the shift that's happening in finance. There's a shift happening with Delaware Auto Exchange that we're really excited about. So thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I mean, thank goodness that mic was on. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. We really appreciate it. We're going to come back next week with another industry update and let you all know what exactly is going on, not only in the automotive industry, but the auction industry as well, and covering some key topics that we think are very important for you to understand and grasp. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great week so far. We will see you next week. Thank you. Dagan.